Okay, I am looking at my other data here for the humanities, private versus public universities, and I am going to construct a 90% confidence interval for the population proportion. So there are some things, quite a few things that I need to find in order to do that. Sample size, if I don't immediately know what my sample size is, what I can do is equals count A, parenthesis, select my data, and that gives me 20. So I have a sample size of 20. Response of interest is what I'm interested in calculating. So for me, I'm interested perhaps in looking at the private schools, so I'm going to type in private here, just like I have it typed into all of these cells. Count for response, to figure out how many private schools I have, the one I'm interested in, I will do equals count if, parenthesis, and then reselect my data, and then comma, and then criteria, what is it that I'm looking for? I'm looking for private. So select that, enter. So I have 6 out of 20 private schools here. So then my sample proportion is just that 6 out of 20, so I can do equals, select the number that were responded in my interest, divide by my sample size, and that gives me a proportion of 0.3, 3/10. Okay, so my confidence coefficient is my level of confidence I'm interested in, and I said that I wanted a 90%, so I'm just typing in 0.9 to remind me of 90% there. To find the z-value that goes with this confidence interval, what I will do is equals norm dot s dot inv, because I'm seeking the z-table number, parenthesis, and then probability, so what is it that the upper tail I'm looking for? 0.5, halfway there, plus, and then half of my confidence coefficient. So my z-value is 1.644 and so on. Okay, now my standard of error, to figure out what this is, I do equals SQRT and then parenthesis. So SQRT is square root, and this is like the p times 1 minus p over n. So my p, my sample proportion, I will select that, times 1 minus that value, and then divide by my sample size. So that gives me standard error. Alright, and then to find my margin of error, what I will take is my z-value and multiply that by my standard error. So my z-value I calculated times my standard error I calculated gives me my margin of error. Okay, so my point estimate, which again is just the 0.3 here, so I'm trying to find a 90% confidence interval around my point estimate. My lower limit is this point estimate minus my margin of error, so 0.13, and my upper limit is my point estimate, 0.3, plus margin of error. So 0.131 to 0.468 is my 90% confidence interval for this population proportion.